Welcome back to Squelch, the video game book club. Sarah's finding the Oscars very funny.
I'm Mad at Arms.
And I'm Storm Rage. And I'm hoping that my audio levels this time can be heard to my co-hosts while also not peaking the audio. And of course, we're here to remind everyone that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a game and that games are supposed to, and believe it or not, this week, succeed in being fun.
It was fun last week as well. Just a little bit of a grumpy, not grumpy, sad, a little bit sadness.
It was sad. There was a lot of woo last week, not a lot of wee. There's a lot of wee this week.
There's a lot of wee in this week.
The wee balances out the woo. This week we are playing through old Lumire, Visages. Do we know how we're pronouncing that yet?
It'll be 3 different ways throughout the entire
section. I think we gotta. I will vote for Visages because I know that it might be Visage, but I'm not French enough to pull that off without sounding unbelievably uptight. So I'm just gonna call it Visages and be okay with being wrong.
Okay.
What about Visages?
Ooh,
I don't like it, Matt. But Dano does, so I think it's a yes.
That's going to be a game time decision when I get there.
This week we are playing through Old Lumire, Visages, and Sirene.
Or is it Sirene?
Nope, it's Sirene,
Stop,
Matt. I wrote it down right here. S-E-H-Rene, Sirene. I didn't write that one down phonetically. It's Visages, Sarah. Visages. Nope, it's Visages.
Google pronounced it. Visages.
Yep, Visages. Yep. Sarah agrees, Visages. She's not arguing with me over my shoulder at all. That's not happening. Don't worry about it. Next week, we're playing through the Monolith. And that's it. The Monolith is long. And there's lots of cool stuff that goes on there. We're going to want to talk about it.
So much
So
cool
play
stuff.
through the Monolith and stop at the epilogue. Does that sound right, Storm Rage?
I think so.
Okay.
When you guys play through this section, you'll have to let me know if we end up going through the epilogue. Epilogue's about 20 minutes. So it's not a ton, but there is definitively an end to a story beat at the end of the Monolith, and there's a different story beat starting in the epilogue.
Got it.
I like that. I'm okay with that. And if the world doesn't end with a shorter episode either.
And I don't think the Monolith is going to be that short of an episode. There's a lot.
I don't think so either. I've played through. I have a full page of notes on the Monolith, so it's awesome, and I'm fascinated about what's going on there as well. It's very cool. Should we head over to our patron thank you to thank some patrons?
If you insist.
I do.
Thanks. I am pretty incredible.
Thank.
Hey, thank you very much, patrons and Twitch subs. Your support keeps this podcast ticking. If you want to support the show, head over to twitch.tv/standuplay or patreon.com/squelch. $5 and above patrons get the podcast the night it is recorded. And as a bonus this week, patrons, you get to hear us do the intro twice. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
The important things.
Truly important. Truly very important. Sarah just got a 2-hour delay. You can probably hear that in the background of Sarah cheering.
This one's a real page turner.
All right. Go ahead and give us this first character here, Storm Rage.
I don't know why it's going to me, because I assume you want to rip my heart open yet again and again and again. So I'll start with Gustav. Gustav was the de facto leader, and he woke up on the beach, where most of the expedition was slaughtered by the white-haired man that we now know as Renoir. He was left for dead, and then courageously and heroically got back up, led the expedition, started to seem like things were finally looking up, when he was indeed slaughtered again by Renoir, and I am bummed. Still haven't forgiven the game for this, because I like Gustave a lot.
Next is Maëlle. She is 16 and volunteered to join the expedition because she did not feel like Lumire was home. Gustave is her guardian and was sort of a father-brother figure in her life. Lune, very much the brains of the operation. She is a thinker. Her parents were both scientists, so she became a scientist's assistant at age 4. So, yay. She does say to Verso, when he learns this, she goes, wow, you started very young. He goes, well, when you only have 32 years of life, you have to start living young, which is, I think, a lot to handle in this game. This game it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
We have Ciel. She is the champion of the Gestrels, who would have been fine spending her last year as a champion if the main story had never arrived. She used to be a farmer, joined the expedition. She talks to the stars, and she misses her husband. Then we have Monoko. He is a Gestrel who is best friends with Verso. He wears a Speedo, and he is amazing. He's also a blue mage.
We also have Renoir, an old man who killed much of the expedition when they first arrived on the beach. He seems super important and like he is certainly connected to a couple of figures. He's appeared to Maëlle a couple of times. We don't know much about him. Verso is not as good as Gustave. That's the main thing that you need to know about Verso, is he is a B- impersonation of Gustave. And so we don't really need to worry about who he is or how he relates to the story at all. But he is immortal and he seems to know a lot and he only lets on a little. Yes, Dano?
I do believe he is a pretty important part of this story.
Debatable. He's no Gustave. That's the important thing. We then have the Paintress. She causes the gommage, turning everyone over a certain age, 33 at this point in time, into rose petals. She can also create life and has created much of the island that we are on. And then there's Esquier. Esquier is the best character in all of gaming. He's a big balloon that flies and floats and swims and talks, and he's filled with wine. He is simply the best. He gives great hugs, and I love him so very much.
And I found Esquier plushes on the internet, by the way, and I'm really tempted to buy one.
Yeah, it's very tempting.
For those who come after.
For those who come after, indeed. Gustave, a.k.a. the real leader of the expedition, a.k.a. the most important character in the series, without a doubt. I think we're all in agreement on that, and I'm going to move past it before anybody says anything otherwise. So, we begin with old Lumire. We are looking for a way to get to the Paintress, and as a reminder, we can't get to the Paintress because she has a barrier that has so much chroma around it that it destroys anything that comes near. So Gustave, in our last session, proposed, sorry, not Gustave, Verso, I might be a little obsessed. Verso proposed going to Old Lumire, where the heart of the Paintress is. If we are able to destroy the heart of the Paintress, then we will break down the barrier and be able to go to the Paintress in full. So we make our way to Old Lumire. This is where everyone supposedly lived before the fracture. It is styled very similar to current Lumire, with a few differences here or there. We make our way through, and we eventually make our way to a dead end, but don't worry, Monoko is on the case. Monoko, who I think... Did we say Monoko?
Yeah, we said Monoko.
Yeah, we did.
We've met Monoko.
Great, I spaced out for a moment then. I apologize. Monoko is on the case. He transforms into a Nevron and blows up the building. When he does that, he accidentally scatters the exposition so that we have two different groups. The first group, Monoko, Ciel, and Lune, are all together. They make their way towards the others, headed towards some indeterminate location to try to find where the others are at. Along the way, they find the journals of previous expeditions that journeyed with Verso. They find something in the journals that makes Lune panic. So she goes, we need to find Maëlle. Matt.
So there's the great scene when after Monoko blows up the wall where he just is like and realizes that he made a mistake and is just crying. It is heartbreaking. It's just like I messed up. I wanted to look cool, and I split up the party. He's just crying. It's great.
It's such a fantastic scene because right before it happens, Virgil's like, "Oh, Monoko, no!" Boom.
And then everybody wakes up several hours later, like
Yeah.
any good moment of explosions. On the other side of on the other path, we have Mael, Verso, and Noko. Noko is the merchant that we met at the very beginning, as well as Monoko's son. And soon after, as we're journeying towards to find the others, Verso ends up vanishing out of nowhere, and Mael is left all alone. Technically, Noko is still there, but for combat purposes, it is just Mael. It's a good thing that she's the strongest member of the party, so she is able to carry most things on her own anyway. She continues on her way until she finds a massive manor house, and Mael gets to the front door where it mysteriously opens. On the inside, there is a creature that seems very similar to the curator, the creature that's been at our camp, that's been in the manor, that has been upgrading our weapons and helping us in a number of different ways. Yes, Dano.
We've seen a number of these creatures out and about. There's the boy, there's the lady, and we talk to them briefly as we kind of go through, and they'll like say a few things to us, and then they'll just stop talking. They'll be like, she did this, or she said this, or she's doing this. They'll talk to us, and then they'll stop talking. So this is like the fourth or fifth of these beings that we've come across.
They are slightly different because those things will talk. The curator has never spoken in like English. It's always been like interpreted.
Yeah.
So that they do seem similar, but I think that these two are distinct creatures of the curator and whatever this thing is in the house.
I have a different theory on them. I like that.
Cat.
Cool. Okay.
Then, as well as alongside this creature, there is the individual that looks. So we've seen a number of times that has come to Mael that looks basically like Mael, except there is no chroma. She's a black and white version of Mael. And then, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving Renoir comes back. And he opens the door as well. And Mael reaches out to the unknown creature. And it's implied, and Verso finally appears and finally confirms that this creature is the Paintress's heart. Verso appears, and there is a brief conversation between Verso and Renoir, where it is revealed that, yes, Dano.
So there's an important part before this. So Verso disappeared, and then when he opens the door and sees the being, he runs up and says, "I knew you'd open for her," and then like gets stopped then by, I believe, Renoir. But so there was something going on. So there's something with Mael and this being, and maybe the other being that looks kind of very similar to Mael.
Mael.
Yeah.
Yes. That is, believe it or not, Dano, the next sentence that I had written in my summary. So fantastic. We are. But regardless, Renoir steps up. He is determined to not let this reunion happen. He is going to protect the Paintress's heart. And he steps forward. At that same time, Lune, Ciel, and Monoko make it back. And they also reveal that they know that Verso is Renoir's son. Renoir mentions that he is doing all of this for Verso. Renoir claims that Verso is attempting to, quote, stop the wrong cycle. And Mael then says to Verso to step back because she is going to kill Renoir. Renoir gives her a look and then looks towards Verso before saying, "You haven't told her the truth yet." At which point it is time to fight. How did you guys like the Renoir boss fight? How did you end up beating it? Thoughts on this fight?
The entrance into this fight, like the entire cutscene of Verso trying to crash into the manor, to like the reveal that Renoir is Verso's father, to Renoir being like, you just don't love your family enough. I am doing this for our family, which makes a million things more confusing and interesting, and it's fantastic. Like, okay, I have many questions now in the best way. And then so we go into that, and then we start this incredible boss battle. This crazy bananas difficult boss battle. It has some of the most like difficult to read patterns like so far in the game. It requires us to use the what's that trigger? The difficult trigger called the
gradient parrying.
The gradient parry. Which I struggled so hard figuring out when the gradient parry was for this. I had to Google when the parry moment was, because the gradient parry, remember, is the black and white parry where it goes black and white and you can only parry. And the key is the black and white is telling you here comes a gradient parry, but then you still have to hit the parry trigger, which is really hard in the Renoir fight to figure out, because sometimes it's just a giant like starburst, like magic thing. It was pulse, 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 and then something happens. Getting that right, or he'll swing his sword. It's crazy difficult. I think it took me like 5 times at least to get this fight. And then when I did get this fight, I had just CL left living, and I'd gone through like the last stand of like, so my initial party went down, then I had my final 2 still up, and then it was just CL. And if he hadn't died on that attack, he would have definitely killed me, because I would have had to hit all the parries, because CL was like minimal health. It was like, he either dies at this moment or I die. It was fantastic. It was so wonderfully climactic versus anticlimactic. I loved it. He also has a crazy heal where he summons 2 petals, and if you don't kill the petals, he basically heals back to full. The first time that happened, my heart broke. I was like, oh no. I love
and he
this.
he also at some point summons these giant masks, and the masks inflict exhaust, which is the worst condition in the entire game, because it means that your characters cannot gain AP. So now all of a sudden you basically just kind of skip your turn unless you have AP banked up. And let me tell you, that sucked. That sucked a bunch. Did not care for it. Matt, how did the fight go for you?
It took me like 5 or 6 tries. It finally ended with my L as like my last stand. I still had my 2 party members in the back, but like my L ended up doing like 4 combats in a row somehow. I must have given her rush or something, where like it literally had like 4, like I think like where I attacked him like 4 times in a row and finally got him down, and it was just absolutely thrilling. Like my L had like no health, so it was like, all right, I guess this is it. And then it just ended up working, and it was just like a big. I did the spike coming out of the ground attack, and it killed it. I'm like, yeah. It was incredible. It was such a good fight. I could not parry the delete a character attack that he did. Ever.
The vanishing. Yeah, the main thing that is truly despicable about this character is that his gradient attack is called a vanishing attack. So what he does is if he successfully pulls it off and you neither dodge nor gradient parry it, because you can still
you can't dodge it. It's a gradient attack.
Yeah, you can't. Well, you can dodge the first part of it, because there's 2 different parts.
There's like a physical attack, and then like a gradient ball that it comes and. Yeah.
That's after. So in the first half of the first 50% of health, he just does the gradient attack that vanishes. After 50% health, he does an attack on top of it, and then does the thing. So there's 2 parts to it. Yeah, which make it a little bit more complicated. Thanks.
And if you fail to parry the gradient attack, then it just makes your character disappear. So you can't res them. They never come back. You can't heal them. They're just gone. So everything else in this fight, you can either heal through, you can res them back. It's relatively similar mechanics, but the second they're vanished, they're gone. And once they're vanished, you probably lost the fight, because he heals enough that you kind of need 3 characters to be able to kill him, unless you have him very low already.
I think actually one time I had him, he vanished my entire main line, and then the fight ended.
Yes, yeah. If he vanishes everybody, then you automatically lose.
Yeah, it's great.
I had a very difficult time with this, and I later realized it was because I was severely underleveled. And I also, most of my attacks are fire-based, so they inflict burn. And burn is a condition that deals a pretty immense amount of damage at the start of a character's turn, which, even with Renoir, was pretty helpful. So I was able to chunk him down pretty quick. I got him to half pretty fast on even the first attack. But he summons those 2 rose petals, and those rose petals never have a turn. So I kept inflicting a bunch and a bunch and a bunch of burn, and because they never have a turn, burn never popped. So I kept getting them down to like 1 health, and then all of a sudden, I'd miss 1 parry, and then my character would be exhausted, and I couldn't finish it off. Or I'd get stunned, and I couldn't finish it off. So I kept getting him down to like 1/3 left, and then rose petals would heal him back to full, and I was like, grrr. But once you get him under 50, he maintains the abilities of somebody of his like second form, where he has the masks, he has the additional attacks, he has everything, so he gets way more difficult. He also powers himself up, he buffs himself up, he gives himself shield. So once he's under 50, he's real tough. And I eventually beat him by exclusively counterattacking him. So I didn't dodge, I think, at all on the last one, because I had to do the fight a number of times, that I just had to do perfect parries, and I just realized that if I could parry enough, didn't matter that I was underleveled, because I could parry enough and counterattack and get all the AP I needed, that I could farm it. And that's what I ended up doing, and I ended up just going full all-out offense. My second team got sent in, and I had him low enough that Monoko did one of his super attacks, and I was able to get it. Matt, you had a thing?
Yeah, this fight is also difficult because like the save point before you get to it, like the only character you have available is Mael.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't actually like respec any of your characters if you need to.
Nope. So if you have a character like, I don't know, let's say CL, who you equipped with a Pictos because you wanted to level it up in case you wanted to get it later, that has a Pictos that has, well, takes 50% less damage but can't be healed. And you're like, wow, it'd be sure nice if I could heal CL for this fight. Nope, you're stuck. You can't do anything, and that was a bummer. Also, you have to start with Verso in your party, and if somebody, I don't know, hasn't leveled up Verso at all, it makes him kind of useless.
There's a flag just behind the manor. If you search around the manor, there's actually a flag around there.
There's
but
like
Mael's the only one in your party.
Well, Mael's
after
the only
you
one
die,
in your
you have your whole party.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, so after you die,
whoops.
it gives you your whole party, and you just go back to that flag and do what you need to do.
Oh.
I didn't do that. I checked
didn't
it
either.
the first time, and I went, great, no one's here, and then I assumed that was the case every other time. Well, one way or another, you eventually beat Renoir, and after the fight, he gathers a massive amount of chroma and launches it at the expedition. And Noko, our gestural merchant friend, takes the hit. Renoir attacks with his cane again, but Verso steps in and stops him. The world goes black and white, and everyone freezes, except for Mael. The girl in the manor, who looks a lot like Mael, comes out and meets her. She doesn't speak, but she grabs Mael's arm. The manor itself catches on fire, but it doesn't seem to burn. Mael asks for the girl's name, but she doesn't respond. The girl walks back into the manor, and the manor disappears. Verso screams as the heart of the paintress is now gone. The group gathers back at camp where Verso defends his decisions to avoid telling the group about his father, saying that it's none of their business and that he cut ties with him decades ago. Monoko brings an urn with Noko inside. He mentions that they can make him reborn again, but he won't be the same. It'll be Noko, but a different Noko. Verso says they can do this later. Verso says the expedition is over. They can't get to the Monolith anymore, so there's nothing to be done other than sit around and wait for the next expedition. Lune says that's not entirely correct, because the old expedition that was traveling with Verso, whose journals we received, knew that the Curator could make a weapon that could pierce the barrier. Which is true. Verso confirms that this is true, but it requires Axon's hearts. And there are only 3 Axons on the island, with one being on top of a mountain and totally inaccessible. So there are 2 that we can get. Wouldn't you need to know? We only need 2 anyway, so it works out great. But these are essentially the most powerful Nevrons in existence. Even Verso, with his immortality, hasn't come close to killing one of these yet. But Lune says even a 1% chance is better than no chance. So it's time to kill some Axons. What did you guys think about this whole section before we move into Visages / Sirene?
Visages.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the coolest sections in video games, I would say, from the party splitting up to like the Lune and CL discovering about like Verso's father, to Verso kind of abandoning Mael so he could get the drop on the manor, and then just an absolute bananas fight. Super fun, super cool. This, at least I wasn't able to find a ton of stuff in this section, like other stuff. Like in the next two sections, there's a ton of stuff to find. This one was much more story driven. Like you're kind of going from point A to point B for the most part. There are some cool like lore drops and things that you can find in this section, but as far as like, I couldn't find mimes or chromatics to kill in this section, which was fine. But I think everything else was super cool. Really fun storytelling by way of gameplay. Like it was a lot of show not tell, which is something that I think in RPGs that we have struggled with the podcast. A lot of times it's like, here's a lore dump via conversation tree. And this was kind of very much not that, which I really did enjoy quite a bit.
Yeah, this was like very stylistically cool. Like very cool. I love the splitting the party thing. That's like one of my favorite tropes in RPGs. Minoko, like this is the first time you actually really get to use Minoko, and you get to learn Minoko and fall in love with Minoko. It's great. Like they kind of force you into like using Minoko, which is perfect. The boss fight was probably one of the best boss fights ever.
It's really good.
Like, and like, yeah, just like the petals are like a thing you have to deal with. I just AoE'd them down. It was wonderful. So I was like doing damage to Renoir and the petals at the same time. It was great. I loved it. You know, and then just like getting to know, like trying to figure out what is actually happening is, I still have no idea what is actually happening.
I think that alone is simply a feat of this game, of being able to drip feed you the actual story, like the actual lore in this world that is happening, and it not to feel frustrating, because I think it'd be very easy to do this style of game where it's like, well, you don't really find out what's going on until Act 3, and for me to just kind of be done with it in Act 1 of like, well, then I don't care. I give me the story or don't. And they focus on such a small story of a group of people that are trying to save the people that they love, that the big story doesn't need to be explained that early on. Mm-hmm. And I think it is just a masterwork of storytelling.
It's got to be one of the best RPG stories ever. It's incredibly well done. Now, we haven't finished it yet, so it could still fall flat in its face. I'm going to assume it doesn't based on how much everyone loves this game, but it still could. I don't know. So far, it's been A+.
All right. So doesn't CL find a rock that allows Esquier to swim through coral in this section?
Yep. She sure does.
So that opens up the map a little bit to you, and that's a lot of fun. So then we make our way north to Visages Island. We see a mountain of faces. Minoko calls the Axion here, he who guards truth with lies. When somebody asks him what he means by that, he says exactly what it sounds like. The island is here singing and kind of creeping everyone out as we approach an expedition flag. Some faces come together and reveal the Axion, who takes a good look at us but doesn't attack. Everyone kind of says it feels kind of like a trap because it feels like a trap. Suddenly the screen goes black and we're introduced to the Mask Keeper. He says he's harmless and the weapons aren't needed. Verso slaps back saying that good news because the weapons will be harmless as long as they're not needed as well. The Mask Keeper invites us to meet with the Visages, but we're free to traverse the other paths as well. Sounds good. Like a good adventurer, we make our way around searching for loot, so we go down the other paths. Go ahead, Dan.
So I kind of, if I can read from my notes here, I get this part and I say, I go to the left first, and then I keep playing, and then my next note is, oh wait, I guess I just went right to the Visage. I went right to the Axum by accident. I just went right there. I thought I was going down the different path. I walked down the main path. Oops.
The Mask Keeper phrases it as he invites you to the Axon invites you right away. But if you'd like, you can explore these other paths. And I went, this is a trick. If I go down the other paths, this boss is going to be more difficult. So I'll go to the boss now. That was wrong. Don't do what I did, because we'll get into it in just a second. But this boss fight was hard.
Wait, is this boss fight easier if you go down the other paths first?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Well, you level up.
Spoiler
so
alert. No, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert for the later part of this section.
Okay, because I went right to the boss by accident. I didn't intend to. I went back and cleared this after I finished it, but I went right to the boss by accident.
I went everywhere, man. I did everything.
Because there are 3 different paths to go for.
There's 3 different paths. Yep.
Okay, cool.
So we go down looking for So we go down other paths. We walk down the first path to the left, the real first path to your left, not the one in the middle, the one to your left.
Oops.
And suddenly the world glows green and colorful. We enter a laughing mask and are transported to a new area that is green and colorful, and everyone is happy. We're in the Joy Vale. We fight a bunch of Nevrons, fight and journal to Expedition 69. Nice. They're responsible for all the handholds we see everywhere and the maps. They're wonderful, great people. We love them. We encounter a mask. It speaks to, so we go around clearing out the area. There's a mime. There's a bunch of other stuff. It's great. He speaks to us and gives us a riddle that I don't understand at all. I don't know if it's an actual riddle or not. He who has painted this world, seeking what it could not grasp, longing to share with those he loves, behind his smile, what could it be? Since I was in Joy Zone, I picked Joy. And that seemed to satisfy it, because a battle comes in with 3 mobs. One's kind of looks kind of burnt, I guess. I don't know. And we kill it, and the mask falls and dies. And we get transported back to I'm going to call it the lobby of the area. And you hear the Axiom screaming, we assume, because it's in pain. And we're like, go ahead, Dan.
You're saying we. Stormmage and I did this as well.
Yeah, that's so much cooler than what I did.
Yep. No, that did not happen for me at all.
It's the royal we, the party as we.
The royal we of only one of us did this the right way.
Exactly, yes. So then we go a little bit further up and to the left. There is the Sadness Grove. It turns blue. It starts raining. Everybody's sad. We go back, repeat the mask. There's another riddle. The Sadness Mask says, he who lives in between, behind his veil, emotions swell. For a life forced to paint, what is he but a reflection of? Sadness, since I'm in the Sadness Veil? That seemed to satisfy it. Kill the mobs. The mask falls down, dies. We get transported back to the lobby again. It's screaming again. We're like, okay, this is hurting it. This is good. So then we go to the right, and it's the Anger Veil, and very similar zone. Basically all 3 of these zones are very similarly laid out. They're just different colors. And the mobs are more hostile than one and the other. Than the Anger Veil, the Sadness Veil, you actually have to go physically attack them in order to encounter them. It's very strange. The Anger Mask says, he who cannot fight fate, behind the scowl, emotions blaze, but in shadows his temper fades. What am I but a mask of anger? Kill that, same thing. Watch and repeat, kill that. There's actually a chromatic in this section, which I killed, which was insanely hard.
Was it the one that you can only parry?
Yes.
I was going to talk about that one later. That one was so much fun. I loved that.
It was a lot of fun. It took me 9 tries.
It took me more than that.
Yeah. So we're here back in the hub, and again, it's screaming. We make our way towards the center, because since there's nowhere else to go, after we buy everything we can off the Gestrel there who's selling stuff. And move our way up. So we finally go all the way up. It's let's go see the Axion. It's a giant guy with several masks.
It's just Axon. It's just Axon. There's no ION.
Axion? I don't know.
Axon.
AXON. Axon, Axoff.
Yes, correct.
Anyway, and like it's a big fight. Guy with like ginormous arms, bunch of heads, and an Illuvian in front, which you're attacking. It's basically like an Illuvian from Dragon Age. And then it's this first boss fight, and I honestly found this. I was also leveled up. I gained like 10 levels in this section, so it was relatively easy.
Yeah,
like, and all his attacks are pretty telegraphed, and you can parry them very easy. Like the parry window seems rather big, so it was a relatively easy fight for me. What did you guys think of this one?
This one was real tough for me because I realized that I was pretty under-leveled as I was like, how did you guys... Because I talked to both of you and you were both like, yeah, we cleared it in like 3 tries or so. It wasn't that bad. And it took me like 10 or so. And I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. It's because I think you guys mentioned that you were around level 33 or something along those lines. My party was level 25. Oof. I gained 3 levels after beating this boss. And it took me so long because every hit was a 1-hit KO, and if anything got exhausted, then I basically had to swap to dodging, and then I had to go back to parrying. And there were some that I think were really easy to dodge, but there were a couple that like the timing window was a little bit weird because whenever it's zoomed in on your character, it's always easy to tell, but there were a couple. There was like Anguish, which was this green one that kind of slaps at you, and that timing window I just couldn't get, and it applied AoE damage and AoE exhaust, and it got me so bad so many times. And so there were a few masks and a few things here or there that I had a real tough time with.
Yeah. I didn't find this one super easy. So it took me 2 tries, but the first try I was basically... my initial party, the first half of the party was smoked after getting through the masks. So I got to like the Axon, but I only had 2 party members left and they were already pretty damaged. And so that went pretty quick. The second time I started to figure out the masks, but I still found the mask timing a lot harder than the Axon. I thought the Axon parries and dodges were easier than the masks. For the same reason Storm Rage said, depending on where the mask was at and which character they were attacking, I thought the dodge and parry windows were really tough to find with the masks. So I got them the second time, but it wasn't like, I didn't like blow through it. I didn't find it super duper simple at all, really. But I thought it was fun, but I found it a little frustrating with the masks, I would say, because I had a hard time finding those parries and those dodges.
Did you find the weak points of the boss?
I usually don't look for the weak points very often. I started a little bit more recently with the air I'm currently in, but I might have, but I don't know if I did or not.
So when the face comes through the Illuvian part of the eyes are like glowing, if you would shoot out the eyes, it does a ton of damage.
Oh, yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah, I've got I don't know. I think at this point my party is pretty strong. So like just doing damage, I'm just piling on damage at this point. So after you knock this guy out, it grows dark and the Mask Keeper appears and picks up a mask, and he monologues a bit about art and masks. And then there's a boss fight, another boss fight. This one's actually, in my opinion, easier, especially if you cleared out the other areas. If you did not clear out the other areas, I could see this part being difficult. Can you talk about, so when he calls on emotions,
Yep.
When you kill all the other masks, nothing happens. He just sits there and does nothing. Like, it's just like a free action that does nothing, and then you just turns into your turn, and then you just beat the crap out of him, and it's great.
Nice.
Yeah, that's not what happens.
Nope.
So the masks.
So could you tell me if you?
Yeah,
like, you tell
I
me
can
what
tell
happens?
you. One of the masks means that he automatically goes again. So every single round he goes twice at least.
Nice.
There is a mask that heals him. So every round he will get healed a little bit, and there's a mask that puts an exhaust debuff on all of your parties that cannot be dodged. So, yes, fight is substantially harder if you just run straight to it.
Nice.
Oops.
And do you have any? Yeah. Oops.
No,
Yeah.
it was Storm Mage cleared. Yeah, that was the case. Yep.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, like I said, like there's like complete rounds where he does nothing if you clear out the mask. It's great. Like, and so you just pile on the damage, and it's just like just beating up a one-armed man. It's not great. It's just it's easy.
I am so jealous.
I mean, that's what happens when you just rush through a zone, Storm Rage. You gotta explore.
I thought that's what the game was telling me to do. I thought I'd get something cool.
I'm just dumb.
All right, so in the post-battle cutscene, the Mask Keeper tosses masks on everyone, and it looks like everybody's in like pain. You're just screaming. CL just seems immune. Like the mask goes on her face. She's like, "What the heck is this? This mask can't hurt me because it is me," as she says, and she finishes off the boss like by punching him in the face with the mask, freeing everyone from the masks. Verso looks at the disappearing corpse of the Mask Keeper and says, "That was Verso, wasn't it? Renoir." I have no idea what that means. It seems important. I don't know why, but I'm interested to know more. So we go back to camp, and the curator insists that Maëlle give the mask to him. She sees a flash of Renoir, and then seems like Verso's kind of like, yeah, I see him in my nightmares too. He's kind of disconcerting, kind of like dismissing what Maëlle saw. So
I didn't read it as dismissing so much as understanding. It's like, yes, I have nightmares about him too. It's as awful.
Yeah.
I know what it's like. That's kind of how I read it. I feel like.
Yeah. But the fact that like she handed the mask to the curator and got a flash of Renoir. Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right.
Next up, we have another Axon to kill. It is Sirene. So we enter Sirene's home, and it only can be described as Cirque du Soleil in an ancient desert ruin of an Indiana Jones movie. So
that's a pretty good description.
That's really good.
Thank you very much. I'm pretty proud of it. So the first enemies we come across, they're all dancers. They're all flying around. So we have to use a free shot a lot. So I respect everything here so that my free shots were more powerful and everything. Did I miss something with... So I have here in my notes that we interact with Sirene almost immediately upon entering the zone. She sings to us, entrancing everybody. Does that happen here at the very beginning?
It does, but I think everybody gets entranced, and I think Monoko rings a bell, which pops everybody out of it. I don't think it's Verso, but I could be wrong.
Verso is at the end, and I got myself confused. I meant to go back and double check. I thought it happened at the beginning. I knew it happened at the end, and I got distracted. So it does happen at the beginning as well, where we walk in the zone, and she entrances everybody at the very beginning. And then, like, one of our party members, none of, like, the main group, like these Monoko or Verso, but I think it's Monoko, then, like, breaks the trance for everybody. And then on we go about our days, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much for that. I meant to double check that. So
I only remember because he, like, rings the bell, and the bell is what pops everybody out of it the first time. And he just says, "Don't be entranced by her. Don't give in to your emotions." Which is a very, like, gestural thing to say in my brain.
Yes.
So that's the only reason why it stuck.
I love Monoko so much. So we come across all these dancers. They're all flying. When they're flying enemies in this game, they dodge a lot, so you have to use free shot. So a bunch of free shot attacking. There are various different varieties of these dancers that do different attacks. But honestly, they're not, like, super tough. You're able to free shot down pretty well if you have a decent amount of AP. So, yeah, Matt?
Yeah. I found like just like the zone combat in this section like almost frustratingly easy just because it was all free shot. It was just like, oh.
Yeah, and this is just
Yeah.
the first section where it's all the dancers. As we kind of move through, there are other varieties, but this first section is all dancers, and you just kind of blow through it with free shot. And so, it wasn't like particularly interesting. I had a lot of like plus 20% experience here because they never even had a turn. So
Yeah.
As somebody that was under-leveled and then had to spend a decent amount of time grinding in this section, it was not that easy because it took a couple of rounds of combat to get enough damage that would actually knock them down, and they had charm effects, and that was terrifying. So charm is the first time that we are introduced to this mechanic. If a character is charmed, they will spend their turn attacking, just using a basic attack, but still attacking a party member. And if that meant that Mael got charmed and she took down Lune in a single hit, that was a problem for me. So there were a few fights that were a little tricky if I missed my dodge and Mael got charmed right at the very beginning.
That's why you attack first and then you just free shot them down before they even have a chance to do anything. It's great.
Yeah, I'd like to, Matt. I'd like to.
I do have something. What was that? Get good?
Turns out I need to get grinding more.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah.
So I really, really loved the layout of this zone. It was very circular. So it was very much of like that dancer fabric, almost like, with the Cirque du Soleil dancers that will go up into like the air and then they'll like dance on the fabric. It was very much of that. Everything was very circular and winding, and it kind of all circled back on itself. So you would go off the beaten path to find the cool stuff, and then it would wind you back around to the main path, which was I loved. It was really fun and didn't realize it till I came back to the zone afterwards to try to clear out the main path stuff, and was like, oh wait, the main path is just where so it was very cool. Really loved like how the layout of this zone was. It was very cool looking. As we get closer to Sirene, we come across Tissier. Sure. Tissier?
Sure.
I don't know. That's a Nevron
Tissue?
construct. It's a Nevron construct with 6 arms that is doing a bunch of sewing. Verso tells us that killing it will make the upcoming fight against Sirene easier, but the game breaks the fourth wall and is like, hey, you don't have to kill this thing if you don't want to. It doesn't seem to be bothering you at all. So you have a choice whether you want to murder this Nevron in cold blood, or if you want to take Verso's advice and kill it for some sort of advantage in the fight against Sirene. I killed it, which I was very happy about because you get an anti-charm Pictos, which becomes very important later on. Did you guys both kill it as well?
Oh, of course.
After how difficult Visages was, I was like, well, I'm going to do whatever I can to make this boss fight easier.
Yeah, so we get the anti-immune charm, the anti-charm Pictos, which is great. This mini boss has a curse attack that will put a death clock of 9 on the party. So curse is a new thing as well. So it basically puts a number above a party member's head, and then when it reaches 0, they die. So the cool fun wrinkle about this boss fight is that every time he hits a party member, it reduces that clock by a tick. So it can go down by 1 or 2 depending on the attack they do. So that 9 becomes 8, 7, 6, 5 very quickly, which I thought was very cool, a little cool wrinkle. Yeah, Matt?
And also the turn timer goes down per person's turn.
Yes.
So like if somebody's at 8, so if everybody's at 9, if like CL has a turn, everybody's at 8. And if like Lune has a turn, then that's at 7. And if then Mael has a turn, then it's 6. So it's like it goes down with everybody's turn, not just rounds. It's just turns.
I don't know if that's true. Because different characters will have different clocks. It might have been true for this fight, but I know definitively that is not the case for other fights. Because if you do, let's say that I am Lune, and I use a gradient attack, which gives me a free attack, and then I follow it up, my clock will tick down twice, but everybody else's clock will not tick down until it's the start of their turn. It might have been something in this particular fight that caused that, but for future reference, there are fights coming up that use curse that is not party stack, it is individual stack.
Cool.
All right.
So, we defeat this being, get the anti-charm picto, go fight 4 fights so that everybody can use this and equip it, because that is smart. Had to do a little backtracking, to be honest, because after this, you're kind of just like going through and there's one more mini boss until you get to the boss. So I backtracked, did a couple of fights, and then got that and came back.
That's so smart. I didn't do that.
That's what I did. I was like, if they're gonna give me this good of a thing, I'm gonna make sure everybody gets to use this thing.
That's smart. That's very smart.
Very, very smart.
At this point, we come across Expedition 67's journal, which, yes, Matt, 67. So, Luke, Expedition 67. We're out of explosives, but we've made enough holes in this place to reach that giant woman in the center. But something weird's going on. Everyone's been swept up in strange emotions. It both feels like us, but also not like us. Marguerite reckons we're feeling the overflow from that giant woman's feelings. Empathetic distress, I think she called it. Like her mind is flooding the area with her thoughts and feelings. Maybe we'll just stay here and enjoy the melody. You're welcome.
I'd really like this game if there's a mod to put that music over every
I love the journals because they're voice acted.
Yes,
it makes it a big deal.
I love this because this is one of those where it sets the stakes so clearly of because one of the questions that I think you naturally come up with is, if there have been 67 different expeditions, all of them have failed, why have they each failed? And it isn't just because Renoir goes in and kills everybody, which basically happened to ours, but most of them usually came to a specific roadblock and something significant happened that derailed the vast majority of the exposition. And here we can see, very much like Verso talked about, of expeditions have not come close to destroying her. And here we get to see the why. And that idea of maybe I'll just sit here and listen to the melody being the last thing that they write down. Oh, chef's kiss. What great world building.
It's super cool. And there's so much fantastic atmospheric storytelling with the journals and the flags. So in each zone we go to, we will see different flags, and those will be planted by the previous expeditions. And then eventually we'll find the journal of that expedition, which is how far they got, where it all ended. And it's so fantastic and choice. My favorite one is the journal you find in the Gestural Village. Did you guys find this one? It's hidden behind a pillar. It's hidden behind a pillar, and the guy's like, I shouldn't have fought that Gestural, but he challenged me to a fight. I didn't even think that bad. He crushed my chest, and this doctor won't do anything. He's just complaining about his growth, about his bones won't stop growing. Why, am I gonna die here? And that's where it ends. It's so funny. So anyways, back to Sirene. Guarding the entrance to the crumbling path is Glissando. Glissando is a Never that looks like a rattlesnake that is made out of fabric. It's very cool. I found this fight to be pretty straightforward, but I thought it was a super cool looking mini boss. And that boss gives us a very sweet outfit for Lune. It is actually the Sirene outfit, which is fantastic. She is now only in this with the Sirene haircut as well that you get from a mime in this section. And it is the best, the absolute best. After defeating Glissando, we continue through the zone, eventually find the dancing arena to fight Sirene. So Sirene starts the fight by trying to charm everyone, showing us dead relatives. This doesn't work on Verso, though, potentially because he has no dead relatives. I don't know. And Sirene gives him a serious look, swipes away the visions, and then the fight begins. shocking no one, Sirene has multiple charm attacks. If you have the anti-charm Pictos, this isn't a big deal. I just tanked those, if I'm being completely honest with you. I just like, oh, it's doing only 100 damage to me. I'm not even going to bother trying to dodge these. She also summons a bunch of dancing Neverons, which were also not too difficult to dodge. I'll be honest, I was over leveled for this fight. This was hands down the easiest fight in the game. I was terrible at dodging all this, and it just didn't matter. I just smoked her in one go. Because before I came here, I went and I used the new bash through coral to go around the entire world to find everything cool and new to do. And so I was quite over leveled.
Yep, same.
So when this fight was over, after not much hassle at all, really, Sirene begins to sing. This singing causes everyone to double over in pain except for Lune. Sirene picks up Lune in her hand and brings her close to her face to get a closer look at why Lune isn't affected by this. And then Lune just casts a spell right in her dome, defeating Sirene. Back at camp, the curator creates a weapon to summon to break through the monolith. He still doesn't summon a Murloc, a dragon, and a beast. How did you guys feel about the Sirene fight?
Like you, was probably a bit over leveled, but also I also used the Pictos on everybody to make sure that the charm attacks never happened. And honestly, it was not that difficult. I was poor. I was tired and was dodging and parrying very poorly at this point too. So it was not that difficult for me.
Cool. I'm glad everybody had such an easy time with this fight. I, on the other hand, was properly leveled and didn't equip the anti-charm Pictos to everybody. I just had it on Mael because I thought, well, if Mael just starts basic attacking my party, I'm dead. And I am at a level, not like difficulty-wise, because I'm just on a standard difficulty. I imagine all of us are on the standard difficulty.
Yeah.
And the number of times that I used to start with dodging, and I still do start with dodging, but I very quickly have to pivot into parries, because parries not only give you the counterattack, but they also give you the AP whenever you successfully parry, and that window is still tight no matter what fight it is. And so I had to do this pretty close to perfectly, not quite. Like I missed a few here or there, but there were a couple of attacks that I just could not get the timing down, and it was when she has these, you mentioned them earlier, the glissandos that like shoot out from her, and they're so far away that I couldn't get the timing of that down. But overall, I think it took me about 3 or so tries to get through, and was able to do so. But I would not call this fight easy for somebody at a normal level, perhaps.
I'm like 36, 37 now, so.
I was in the 40s, low 40s for this fight. I'm now into the 50s for where I'm currently. I'm like high 40s, 50 for Monoko, because Monoko doesn't leave my party whatsoever anymore, because I am never, ever missing out on a Monoko ability, ever. And he's also like the gas in my party. So he has an ability that that will give everybody like 3 or 4 AP. And so, like, I'll just cast that whenever it comes up. And then he also has a weapon that if you use the ability when it's at the proper, like, on the proper part of the wheel, everybody gets +1 AP. And then if you have all the AP Pictos also equipped, I'm constantly at, like, 6, 7, 8, 9 AP. Just through, like, using Monoko and then having the AP Pictos equipped. Yeah, Matt?
Do you have the weapon that you got in the Visages area where it starts on the caster, or not the caster, the agility one, or I think it's the agility one that gives everybody the extra AP. I'm not sure if it's agility or caster. I'm not sure.
Caster is to give everyone additional AP, but I don't think so. I think the weapon I believe I'm using is the one that gives everyone +1 AP when you use the proper ability on the wheel. So if he's on a caster and you use a caster ability, then everyone gets +1 AP. If you use strength when you're on strength, then everyone gets +1 AP. So I have only one agility ability equipped, and that's the cost 0. And then you attack again for agility. So for agility, I just take a free low attack that I get, then we'll just rotate my wheel. And then it usually goes to caster, and I have 2 caster abilities. One's a high DPS ability, and the other one is give everyone 1 to 4 AP. So depending on like how the fight is going, I'll do that. And then I have 2 balance APs and then one heavy AP. Or not, sorry, 2 balance abilities and 1 heavy ability. And then the 2 balance ones are pretty heavy hitting. And there's a lot of AoE. He is crazy powerful. He has some abilities that only cost 5 or 6 that do like 3 or 4 hits, and they'll all hit for 9,999. Like, he is bananas powerful. Like, he's hands down the best person in my party. And he's not even like equipped for DPS. He's equipped for like helping everyone out. And he's still like just the heaviest hitter I've got. It's crazy.
But yeah, he also does this. He hits like a truck. It's great.
And he also he has multiple really good breaks as well. So like, he's fantastic for like when you're fighting mimes. I absolutely love Monoko.
Hello, old friend. Let's meet for tea after the match, shall we?
Slurp.
Want to get us going here, Matt?
Sure. I've spent some time going back to earlier areas to explore a bit. Found some of the old chromatics and kicked their butt because they were easy. Because I was way over leveled for them now. It's great. Found a bunch of old mimes. Can have everyone in the baguette outfit except for Monoko. I hope there's a baguette outfit for Monoko somewhere. I need to find it. Verso and CL are spending some quality time together.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. I found 2 mimes in the 2 areas and dispatched them pretty quickly. Found the chromatic in the Veil and took like 8-9 tries to beat him. That one was difficult. Monoko and Verso gave each other very manly haircuts. Verso has a man bun mullet combination, which they're calling samurai. And Monoko is best described as a Viking beard, braided beard, and it's amazing. I can now I found enough of those children that I can punch those paint globs now. I need to go back and find some more of those paint globs and just find what's in them because I love it. It's great.
Not worth backtracking for them. It's all just like stuff to use like on your characters. So I did backtrack for them, thinking it'd be super cool stuff. For the most part that I found, it wasn't worth backtracking for them. So
got it. All right, Stormrage, how about you?
I still refuse to use Verso because he is, and follow me on this, not Gustav. And unless the boss fight explicitly makes me, which did happen this week, I will refuse to put him in my starting party ever again. Although, because I recognize that he might be required in certain boss fights, I do now level up his abilities every now and then. But he will stay in the backline where he belongs until Gustav returns. So in Visages, that fight was terrible for me because I had the only way I could get through that was perfect parries. And anytime that if I missed 3 attacks in a row, or 3 attacks basically at any point, if I did not immediately have a res or a heal to counteract it, I was dead. And so there were a couple fights that took me about an hour or so to get through just because I had to keep parrying perfectly. And I eventually encountered the side boss that Matt and I talked about earlier, where he's a chromatic guy that goes eternally. He will continue to go until you break his armor with counterattacks. So It takes a while. And if you are underleveled and can't take more than 1 hit from this guy, it takes so long. The time that I beat him, I legitimately didn't miss a single parry because the second I missed a parry, then my character was dead and I wouldn't have enough damage to break through. So I think I was counting at one point, I want to say 40 parries in a row with counterattacks, and it felt so great when I eventually got it. But this took me probably about an hour and a half of me just figuring out the timing. It was not an easy thing.
Yeah, like you're just like bats. Like I can do this, and it's just like parry, 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 parry. Like it's like the sequencing is very, and it changes like every other attack too. Where it's just
It's a very specific rhythm that once you get down, you're like, I got it. And then every now and then when you just barely miss the timing, it's like, oh, I know where that timing is. I know that on the 3rd, I have to stutter a half second more than on the 4th and the 2nd. But it was a really, really great fight, and I was very glad that I got there. And then I found a mime in Sirene that was easy to blast through because at that point I was the proper level. Let me tell you, this game's very, very different when you are properly leveled. It is so much easier when you are properly leveled.
Mm-hmm.
And in campfire scenes, we kind of mentioned it before, but there's some kind of fun romance between Verso and CL. And then we also got some cool conversations with Verso and Mael about Verso's kind of past. And some of this is with Lune, some of this was with Mael, but we find out that Verso had a sister, and his sister was named Alicia. And we've kind of heard that name mentioned here and there, but not specifically like who this person is. And Alicia lost her voice in a house fire where her vocal cords were fried and her face was scarred. And so we learn a little bit more about Verso. And while I respect him and appreciate him, still not Gustav. And I will die on that hill forever and always. Dano.
There was a couple of really cool like things in old Lumire that I found. So if you drop down below like one of the levels and then walk into like a little sewer grate, you will find a survivor note of the fracture where she talks about like the immediacy after the fracture of what happened and like what the survivors were doing, like trying to find food for the children. And it was really cool because it was like the immediacy. It was like right directly after it happened, which was fantastic. There was also a manor entrance in there with a journal note from Renoir. So it kind of, I think the manor is like their family manor, I believe, is kind of what I'm getting from a couple different manor entrances that we found so far. I fought a chromatic reaper out in the world. It was a super fun fight. And afterwards, there is a great journal entry that you find about a person, one of the expeditions who got stuck there, and they were going in submarines and they couldn't use their submarines because of a sea serpent. And she goes, if I die on this island, I'm going to haunt it forever. Which is she the Reaper? I don't know, but it's super cool to kind of think about.
Right.
Found the mime in Visage and fought it to get Verso's baguette outfit. Killed the chromatic Ramesseur, which was the one where you can only counterattack. That one took me 3 tries because the first time I was like, why don't I get to attack? And then I died. And the second time I was like, do I have to parry? And so I was trying to get the parry down. I'm like, maybe I can dodge. And I died. And I was like, I think I just have to parry. And then I figured it out. Very fun fight. Found the manor entrance in Visage, and that was a playroom with a piano in it and a song that you found. And the song was named Verso, which makes me assume that this was Verso's room growing up. So I'm loving the manor now because like all the different things in the manor you're finding are different members of their family, which is what I'm guessing, which I think is really cool. I found another gestural arena, not arena, but one of those gestural like races things. It was a gestural race this time where you had a time limit and you had to get through an obstacle course within a specific time. And if you do it, you get a swimsuit for Verso, which is awesome. It was absolutely a ton of fun. Found a place called Sinister Cave in there.
Oh, I found this the other day.
So much fun. It was super dark, only lit by lanterns and then whatever light you have as a party. And it's also very maze-like. So you're kind of going up and down. So it's 3-dimensional as well, where you have to like go up above these passages and then drop down into certain locations to find everything. Very cool. There was a chromatic shelter there or something like that. And nothing super interesting about the fight, but it was a very cool looking fight where it was like bioluminescent, which was fantastic cool. And then after you win that fight, you get a cursed weapon for Sael, where she starts the fight cursed, and it has 3 turns on the curse. And then, but you're doing 50% extra damage, and then you can reset the curse by going into Twilight phase and doing attacks in Twilight phase. So if you plan out your fights correctly with this weapon, you do bananas damage. Really cool, but you have to be kind of really thoughtful about your build and everything. And then I also found an earth weapon for Lune next to a dead gestural merchant, which was sad. Killed the another chromatic where it had multiple breaks, and each break made them more powerful. And this one, I got a sweet level 17 weapon for Sael, and so now she is hands down my most powerful character.
She is so good. Like, if you get her build right, she is insane.
Yeah.
She does so much damage.
I have a pretty cool build with her as well now. Found an island with 2 mimes on it, and you had to fight them at the same time. Got 2 haircuts for that, which is cool. And I think I figured out how to find the lost gestrels. So I have the last couple that I have found, they have been on islands or locations next to those urns. So if you look for those urns, I believe you will find a lost gestrel there. This is just a hypothesis, but the last couple I have found, this has been true. So that's what I'm thinking for now. I can also break the paint columns. I went back to the gestrel village to beat One Puncho. Because One Puncho was the gestrel where you get 1 attack on him and you have to do 9,999 damage. So I equipped the start on Virtuoso mode weapon, went and respect Mael for 99 agility and the rest into might, went and did 9,999 damage on him. No problem. Yeah, Matt?
Did you find the Gestural Fight Club?
Yeah. The one, like the arena where you had the 4 gestrels.
like the hidden arena where you get all like the last stand pictos. It's great. It's
great.
I
found that like in week 2, I think.
Oh, okay. I found that like when I went back and did my searching throughout this week.
Yeah, it was fun. I found the kitchen entrance that you were talking about, Matt, which was really fun. I got the gambling Pictos as well. I had found that the first time I went there, but I just answered wrong. So I just went back and I answered all 4 answers until I got the right one, and he gave me the gambling
and
Pictos.
the right answer is, it doesn't matter.
So my bad. Killed a chromatic greatsword cultist. That was the one. Those are the greatsword cultists are the ones that stab themselves and gain a bunch of shields. So got through that. And then found another manor entrance where it was a bathroom entrance, and there was nothing there that I could find, except for Matt told me that there is something there, and I just missed it.
Yeah, so if you go into a bathroom and then there's nothing in the bathroom and you just go out the door, shoot the mirror, because there's a passage in the mirror, and I think it's just like one of those like weapon upgrade chromatics.
So I'll go next time I'm back at the manor. I'll do that. I
was wondering because I got to the bathroom and I was like, oh, it's just a room? That makes more sense.
I ran around for 5 minutes trying to figure it out, and I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah, it's like there has to be something. It's like, let me just start shooting mirrors, and like the big mirror busts out, and it's great.
And I usually do that too, where I'm like, okay, man, you got to shoot something. I must have not paid attention. I found the Sirene hair mime and then killed it to get the Sirene hair for Lune, which makes she now has the full Sirene outfit, the Sirene hair with like it flowing up into the sky, and then she looks fantastic. And like I said, I had totally outleveled Sirene, so that was not a tough fight.
Taste my grilled cheese.
Munch.
The first good, we've already talked about it multiple times, but it is just so ding dang good. The Sirene outfit for Lune. It's so cool. It looks so awesome. I love it. Bonus not so good here. There is not a Visages mask for Sirene, which bums me out.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, shouldn't there be one? Why wouldn't I not do a Visages mask?
You mean for
her?
CL?
For CL?
For CL, yeah, for CL. Sorry, for CL. Because CL is the one that takes the mask, so there should be a mask for her, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, because in Visages, CL is the one that like lays the final blow.
Yeah.
In Sirene, it's Lune. I do think that would be more fitting.
Yeah, why not have a mask for her and then the full... Disappointed game.
Yeah.
What's her not so good?
My hand hurts. Let me tell you, this game is wonderful and great, and I love it. But if you're underleveled, you've got to parry so many times. You can't dodge. You simply cannot dodge. There's not enough time for you to dodge these attacks. You have to learn how to parry. Mm-hmm. And when you're parrying, it takes some time to understand the timing of those fights. And I played a lot on Friday night because it was the first time that I had like a free Friday night in a very, very long time. And I just played for like 5-6 hours straight. It was incredible and lovely, and I had a great time. But then I woke up Saturday morning and my hand hurt because I kept parrying. And the thing that hurt the most on my hand was my index finger because I kept hitting R1 with it the entire time. So let me tell you, getting old, super fun.
Oh, yeah.
Do you smash the parry button far
Oh,
more
I hit
hard
it.
than you have to? Because I need to.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Yes.
absolutely break my controller. It's like RP, RP, RP.
Yeah, so my controller, my PlayStation controller broke when we were playing Mass Effect Andromeda, so I had ordered 2 new ones. And I was like, that's kind of weird that my controller broke. And Stevie was like, well, that's because you're pretty hard on your controllers. And I was like, I didn't think that I was that hard on them. And then we were playing a little bit, and I was like, okay, I kind of get it. And then in Expedition 33, when I'm slamming the parry button, I go, okay, no, I fully get it. She is 100% correct.
Yeah.
His controller will not last.
What's our best good, Matt?
SKA is full of wine. There's a great scene after you killed the Sirene, after you kill Sirene in the camp, where CL just like, and the best news is SKA is full of wine. And like the best way, and also SKA has to vomit out the wine in order to get the wine. And it's just wonderful. It's beautiful. It's hilarious.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's just like the next morning, everybody's like, oh, I'm so hungover. And Mael's like, yeah, a bunch of winos over here. And then SKA's like, I'm empty.
Verso says, yeah, they're all my personal vintages. They're quite good.
Yeah. It's such a great scene. I love it.
It's a winner.
He asks each traveler 3 questions. 3 questions.
3, that's a magic number.
What are you liking so far, Matt?
I liking this even more now that I know you guys didn't do it. The trope where you can go kill the boss now, and it'd be a little more difficult, or do the extra things and the boss is a lot easier. They pull it off really well. Now that I know that like the boss is a lot harder if you don't do the thing, it's great. I love it. It's an JRPG trope, but I love it so much. Storm Rage, what are you liking so far?
I fear that this will just end up being one of my liking so far every single week for this stupid game. The boss fights are so flippin' good. I
Yep.
don't know how they keep introducing new mechanics, new statuses, new ways in which to dodge this late into the game, but it works so well. And like you mentioned earlier, Matt, the fact that there are different ways to make these bosses either easier or more difficult, the ways that you can work around them is so beautifully built into the game itself that it's so good. This is the best boss fight styles that I have ever seen from an RPG, a turn-based RPG like this is. It's phenomenal. Dano?
The mini boss fights were just a ton of fun this week. Like, just a ridiculous amount of fun. Loved them. The mini bosses fights were great. Nothing else to really say. They were all really interesting, like beautiful. Like they also originally done as well. They're fantastic. I agree with Storm Rage as well that like they can't keep all being this good, right?
We'll find out.
Yeah. What are you struggling with, Matt?
It was a rough week at work and personally. So when I took a bit of a break and I finally got back to it yesterday. My dodge and parry timings are just so messed up when I first start. I just almost need to like find a relatively insignificant combat just to get warmed up for when I actually face bosses. Because the problem is I like stopped at a boss and then like came back like almost a full week later and tried to fight the boss and was having difficulties with that boss because my dodge and my parry timings were way off and it was difficult. So I probably could have done that one parry boss a lot faster if I actually warmed up before I got there. So, Storm Rage, what are you struggling with?
I just want to keep playing. I just want to finish the end of the game. But I know there's so much to do. There's so much to do, and I haven't done so much of it. You guys have talked about so many things that are in this game that I have not explored even a little bit. You want to know how many missing gestrels I've found? Not a one. Do you want to know how many outfits I've found? Not a one unless it was on the beaten path. Like, there's so much of this game that I just have not explored, and I want to play more of it. I want to keep seeing what else this game has to offer, but I also really like that a lot of the stuff that is on the side content is extremely good for mechanics and interesting, but it does not mean that you have to do side content in order to do the main content. So basically, I just want more time. I want more time and better hands, so that way I can keep playing without my fingers hurting. Dano, what are you struggling with?
Where are Monoko's weapons? I have like
half a dozen.
I have 12 weapons for everyone else and 2 for Monoko. I don't know what I don't think I'm missing anything. I'm going through a bunch.
Did you find the one in Old Lumire? There's one in there. There's like, I just keep on finding them.
I cannot find them. I don't know why. I can find everything else except for apparently Monoko's weapons. So the one I have is the 2 I have are good, so it's no big deal. But like Monoko's weapons and Monoko's outfits. Now Monoko's outfits are perfect. The 2 I have, I like the weapon I'm using for him, and the outfit I have for him is a speedo, a life ring around his neck, a lifeguard whistle, and then a top hat with a mustache painted on his mask. So I will never changing that anyway, so I don't need more outfits for him, but I just want to see more outfits for him.
Right.
What surprised you about the game, Matt?
The game doesn't care if you break combat. It actually effectively rewards you and encourages you to do so. My build is very much like it's almost like I have a Pictos that gives everybody 3 turns of rush from the beginning of the combat. And like usually I'm able to first strike most of the time, so I'm able to just kill things before they even have a chance to act anymore. I have Monoko and CL. Like Monoko set up as a support that eventually just deals damage like a truck. CL is set up like a support that deals damage like a truck, and I just have my L in my main party. Just that's all she does is deal damage like a truck. So I'm just dealing out all the damage in the world and have all the AP available, and it's amazing, and I love it, and it's a ton of fun, and like combat is like to the point where it's like I don't want to increase difficulty, but we'll see how the tower goes, because or the monolith goes, because I'm looking forward to seeing how I stack up in that area now. Storm Rage, what surprised you?
I was genuinely kind of shocked at the fact that I could beat these bosses and these optional bosses with recommended levels 10 higher than I was at. And I really love that about this game, is that at least on medium difficulties, the normal playthrough is you can either go the route of I'm going to grind, I'm going to get a good build, so that way I don't really need to worry about the quick time events. I can just dodge most of them and I'll be fine. I don't really need to worry about parrying. I can just get by. Or you can go the insane route of I'm going to be pretty underleveled, but you know what? I'm going to get real good at quick time events. I'm going to get real good at those parries. And I like that you can kind of play the game either way. And I imagine that when you get to higher difficulties or higher levels, you do need to be able to do both. But I like the game kind of gives you a choice in what do you want to be good at. And I think that that's super cool and a really difficult thing to weave. But I think it's done really, really well. Dano?
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Have you played Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
No.
Yes.
So in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Storm Rage, each of you, what you're doing is you're starting at the lowest level of boxing and you're working your way to the top. You can't move. All you can do is dodge left and dodge right. And then after you dodge, you can counterattack. So my question for you is Expedition 33 just a Punch-Out like? Because I'm going to say it is, because
it's close.
This game is all about dodging, parrying, and countering. You don't have to move because it's all turn-based.
And Punch-Out. And the most important thing in Punch-Out is learning the patterns and the tells of all the enemies that you encounter, right? Or all the So if you know that the Piston Honda is going to have his eyebrows go up, moves his eyebrows up twice, you know he's going to punch to the right. he goes up once, it's going to punch to the left. So it's knowing those tells and knowing when you can dodge or block in order to get in the jabs, and eventually breaking that so you can get the stars, which allow you to do the uppercut, which do the most amount of damage. Yes, it is.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Matt. That was perfect. Expedition 33 is a punch out like.
You want to buy some death sticks?
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
Stormmates of the game to a friend.
There are a lot of things about this game that are genuinely phenomenal, but I feel like it's missing something at this point in the game. It's missing sort of kind of like a light-hearted character that really cares about Mael and the rest of the group, acting as some sort of leader or moral backbone. Somebody like, I don't know, Gustav. Maybe we could bring Gustav back, and then I think this game would be perfect. So just bring Gustav back, and this is a perfect game.
He made a cameo this week.
He did make a cameo this week when in the dead family members. It was Gustav. Yep. Matt?
I am Speed. Swim, swim.
Let's get wet. Mine's also an SKA quote. I am woo, but I'm also wee. The wee balances out the woo.
We didn't even talk about that. That's a conversation that Verso has with SKA about how he deals with everything and how he continually isn't grumpy like Francois is, his best friend and also arch rival. And I just love the simplicity and the beauty in the wee balances out the woo. It's SKA is simply the best.
So you're saying your little wee woo. It's like, you really get me, Verso.
Next week, the stars are the apples of the sky in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. That's it for this week. Thank you so much to our patrons and Twitch tubs for patronizing us. Thank you all so much for listening. You can find information for us and our Discord information in the description of this episode.
Clair Obscur is a game, and games are meant to be wee.
Yeah. And don't forget, when one falls, we continue, baby.
This is the end of the show. Everybody bye!
I was chilling on the interwebs just this afternoon.
This game has been so much fun.
I love SKA so much. I love SKA so much, guys.
Right.
He's just so fun. Then there's so many good things in this game. I'm stoked to talk about the Monolith the next week because it is, without spoilers, maybe one of the best zones in any RPG.
Ooh, it's very good.
Yeah.
Quick, not spoiler, but hint, helpful tip. If you are waiting to play along with us, I haven't played the Monolith yet, and you haven't been using Monoko yet, highly encourage you to just bring Monoko along through this zone. There are a bunch of super good Monoko attacks you'll pick up in this zone.
Nice.
Oh, that would have been, that'd be nice if I had Monoko in my party ever.
You're missing out. Minoko's the best.
I love Monoko. He's just really super well-rounded. He's great. And then I really like him a lot. Yeah.
I've finally found a really fun CL build. Then I also found a good Lune build. And now I'm just working on getting Mael to that specific combo, because there's a couple of times where Mael's stance dancing back and forth between defensive and offensive. I've messed up a few times, so I think I'm still not fully there on that one. But I have a very fun little back and forth combo with CL that is great. And also I've unlocked now the super skills for a lot of people, and the amount of damage that they can do on some of those is gross.
Yeah.
I did in total roughly 40,000 damage with my L in a single attack the other day.
Yep.
I did 43,000 in one attack with one of the super skills as well. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I would say my weakest character right now is Mael because my build of her just doesn't do multi-hits. And so like I just need to rebuild her, I think, because with damage capping at 9,999 and her my build rotation kind of like working on kind of like putting some flame on and then going like it basically rotates around her pierce ability, and a single 9,999 just doesn't cut it right now. So I need to I'm opening up all her flame stuff right now, and I think that's probably where I'm going to go with her next. But right now, I would say I don't have a really good Mael build, but I have a good build for everybody else. And I've been using all 5 characters. I've been like trying to keep them all like equal levels, with only one staying in the party, Monoko, because I don't want to miss out on any of his abilities. So
yeah. I've been just running Monoko, CL, and Mael, and Mael is just the one that just usually does the most damage over time, along because she's the one that puts the flame on everybody, and also like just a single point of like single attack damage, because I use her like flurry rush that also breaks or whatever. Where it's like if she's in Virtuoso stance, she stays in Virtuoso stance after it. I think it's like a 3 or 4 hit combo, and she hits for like 6 to max damage, like almost every hit with that. Know what?
So. I took that off of her build. Maybe I should go put that one back on. Maybe that's my problem. I should probably
it's pretty AP hungry, but with like Monoko and CL, like because I use the one ability for CL I use a lot is the Foretell, the one that were like the Foretell cards that are on the enemy get converted to AP for everybody else.
I have that one.
I use that one a lot, and that one's a really.
I need to play with that one more because that's very fun. I've basically just been the only way that I get AP consistently is A, start of combat. I have a bunch of AP Pictos equipped to everybody.
Oh yeah, I have all those
parries.
Equipped to everybody.
If it is not through a parry, I probably don't get it. So I just don't dodge anymore. I only parry.
Yeah, I just picked up a Pictos that gives everybody regen at the beginning of combat.
I have that one too.
I'm not sure how useful that one is, because if you parry enough, you don't need it.
Yeah, or you don't have to worry about parrying as much because everyone has regen and shell at the beginning of every fight.
Exactly. Yeah, the shell. Yeah, but the rush, regen, and shell at the beginning of combat is broken. It is nuts.
Yeah. No, I do the same thing. But yeah, I would say I've got a really good CL build now as well, where she has the light-based one that does 6 to 9 attacks, and it just absolutely like roasts through like the Foretell. And then I also have the Foretell ability now that does like puts 2 Foretell on every one of the enemies. And that's been a good one for me as well. So yeah, no, I also, for Lune, I've gone more into lightning because she has some like crazy high DPS lightning abilities. And so I just opened some of those up with her, and I started playing around with those as well. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. I've been kind of letting Lune and Verso kind of like sit fallow for a while, because these 3 are just so good together. And then like, so I need to go back, and I probably need to rework, just burn a couple of recodes to get Lune where I need to get her. So
I'm happy with Verso. He's not like outstanding, but he's pretty good. And I use the weapon where he starts at C, and then I either mark with him or I'll just gain 1 to 3 AP for him. And then pretty quickly I can get to 9 AP and then just do his like super attack for 9 AP. And that's just really good. And then if I happen to be on S when that happens, it's bananas good. So yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Who was that last one you just mentioned? Who was that last?
Verso is this character that came in after Gustav died, and he's may or may not be better. I'm not sure. Like,
he's definitely better because Verso only had 9 abilities. I mean, not Verso, but Gustav. Gustav had 9 abilities, so.
Only 9 abilities so far.
I know, right? I can't wait to find out with that. I want to know. That's the biggest mystery of the game. Was that all a troll, or is it all stuff hidden behind New Game Plus? Or
I'm looking forward.
Or is Gustav coming back? I can't wait to find out.
Right.
All right, should we end it there?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll talk at you again next week.
Bye-bye.
Whoa. Whoa.